Popcorn world. Popcorn world. Yeah. Now, yes, I can. So you can get this groove in the back of a can. You can make it around the world with the holes in your hand. Popcorn world. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. 250 flavors. Popcorn world. Popcorn world. Popcorn world.
You're now listening to BLEAV in the ACC with Heisman Trophy winner and Florida State legend, Mr. Charlie Ward, Wave 3 TV, and Burn Big Hall of Famer Kendrick Haskins, and Mr. Talking Noise himself, and of course Mama Noise's name, Lloyd Smith. And now, it's time for BLEAV in the ACC.
It is a glorious, glorious Thursday morning. We are back. It's Kenny Haskins, the great Charlie Ward. We're one step away from some vacations, some more vacations. Kendrick's already there. Kendrick is already there. He got the beard going. He's trying to match me. He's trying to catch me.
I got a long way to go.
You got a long way to go. You got a long way to go. Charlie looks relaxed. Look at him. He looks relaxed. No basketball stress right now. He's just kind of in the mode of summer. I love it. I love where we are right now, gentlemen. How's everybody feeling?
Feeling good. Glad that things are kind of slowing down around here. High school baseball and college baseball playoffs are in full effect. But other than that, everything's starting to slow down.
Yeah. Is Louisville men going to make the tournament? Are they going to?
Nope, they didn't make it.
Oh, they didn't make it. I thought I saw the break. I said, I don't think they made it this year, which is kind of shocking.
No, they didn't make it. That's 2 years in a row they didn't make it. Kentucky's the number 2 overall seed.
I was thinking Kentucky's doing great. Yeah.
That whole region.
Okay. Charlie, how you doing, man? I think you muted there, but you doing all right?
Oh, yes, I'm doing fine. I'm just preparing for the month of June, but we're just got finished with 2 basketball camps at school.
Nice.
With younger kids, and now we're having an open gym with our summer team at school today. So we're
do kids go to summer league?
Say again?
Do kids still go to summer league, or are they inundated with AAU now and they just don't have time for something like that?
No, summer league. The month of June, there are no travel ball. AAU, they have a few tournaments during the month of June, but most, and that's the younger group. But most of the, high school travel ball AAU circuit, they don't play in the month of June. They reconvene in July. They've already played pretty much their season. They'll play a few tournaments to determine seeds and all those types of things, I think, for their national tournaments. So that happens in July. But the month of June is catered towards high school teams for the most part.
Okay. See, me being on the outside looking in of AAU, I was not aware that there's a ramp up.
Yeah, it usually gets in full swing in July, right, Charlie?
Say again?
So AAU usually ramps up in July, right?
They've actually, for the most part, they've completed like their round robin circuit. So they do that starting in March or late March, April, and then most of May. They have a lot of tournaments in April and May to kind of get their rankings and standings. And then in the month of July, they have a few tournaments, but for the most part, they have their tournament to determine who the champion is. So like Peace Jam, which you've heard a lot, right. That's normally middle of June for like a week or so. And so that happens. And then you have your Puma, then all the different, Adidas,
everybody's
all their circuit. Yeah. So they have their tournaments, their national tournaments during most of the month of July.
It'll be interesting to see if Shaq is going to revisit his Reebok, and now he's running Reebok, or he owns Reebok. It'll be interesting to see if he brings back, because Reebok used to have some stature tournaments as well, and then it just kind of fizzled a little bit, or the people wanting to go to a Reebok tournament kind of fizzled probably more accurately. So I'm curious to see if Shaq will get back in the game. I guess you almost have to if you're gonna sell any shoes at all. You got to get in the game.
Got to get back in the game.
So Shaq is running Reebok.
Yeah. Well, I think he owns it, and then he brought in Iverson to do something. Iverson is running.
And I think Angel Reese is one of his first.
Yeah, Angel Reese is one of
clients,
the big signings. Yeah, he's starting to get his roster together, and I'm sure over the this next year, he'll probably get a substantial group together. But it's interesting. I said, man, Reebok's gonna get back in the game. I only like Reebok. I don't know why it fell apart like it did, but I always thought it was a decent shoe. It wasn't a bad shoe.
I had like 2 or 3 pairs of Iversons at one point.
Yeah, it was a good shoe. I don't know what happened. It just didn't. I don't know. It didn't sustain. Well, anyway, being that we're going into the summer and we're just getting ready to take our little break here, we wanted to do a quick ACC review of everything that's going on in the year, and then also to talk about some stuff that could go down in over the summer that we won't be here for. And also we'll get some shout outs at the end to some of the teams that did extremely well this year in the ACC. But before we get to any of all of that stuff, while we were gone, we saw the I guess at this point you can call landmark decision by the courts, the higher courts of the land, to say that NCAA, you got to pay these folks some money, a lot of money. I ask you and Charlie, what with this decision about having to give out the money to the Power Five, will that help the ACC kind of calm things down, or that's just the beginning of the first phase and now the next phase is about to take place? Like, how dead set are these teams in getting out of the ACC, especially after this ruling? Because some teams are going to get some money, some conferences are going to get some money.
Well, that's for back pay. I mean, for the most part.
It is.
I don't know how that would help the current situation getting money, that the money they're going to be receiving. I think it's, I don't know, 20 million or so per team or school.
No,
that's what it
equals. You average it out, it's not like a lot of money. It's just you owed us this. Does it give teams like Florida State and Clemson, who are peeking over the fence, does it give them the, I'm wondering from a legal perspective, does it give them the foundation they need to stand on their lawsuit a little stronger? Because basically the lawsuit, the judgment says, yeah, y'all owed him this, and it's not great right now for everybody.
Charlie, how does this all of this affect you? Are you included in this back pay stuff? Because I saw some of the former athletes were. I didn't know how it all worked.
You were breaking up. What was that? What was the first part?
Are you included in the back pay stuff that they're doing now?
I keep missing it. I hit a last.
Are you getting some money from the back pay stuff?
No, I'm not in that. But I think it only went back to 2016 or something.
Oh, is that all? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that far back.
Okay.
That ain't right.
That ain't right.
Charlie should get some checks.
I think it was just 20. I don't know. It's not that far back.
Okay.
But I mean, when it's all said and done, everybody would definitely like a blessing if it happens. But if it doesn't happen, I know for me, it's not like, it's the end of the world. I mean, we've been blessed to be able to recoup some funds, you know, from some other situations that we didn't know that was there, you know. And
Okay.
we started digging into certain things. You know, there was some money that we had paid or we were owed, and we were blessed with a few checks here and there. So, you know, like I said, you know, it all equals out at some point in time, and when the time is right and it happens, that's great. But it's not like the end of the world.
Do you get to now take advantage of the new NIL deals as relates to things like the new NCAA game that just came back out? So surely Charlie Ward is part of the legacy part of that game. I would have to think that they use legacy players, or are they not using that in this new alliteration?
I'm not sure. Haven't been approached by them, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen.
You might want to check on that, Charlie, because you check and see if they got a legacy unlock the code thing and they're just using chop number 17 on it's some cheat code situation.
Right.
I mean, you know, I've been a part of the NBA.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The game, the Heisman Trust. We had the Heisman winners. There was something there as well at one point, but like I said, you know, grateful for opportunities that come up, and hopefully, you know, since it's coming out. But I think now they're really working to try to get the guys who are playing or players who are playing on the games because of, you know, just that whole NIL deal and what have you. But I'm sure at some point there will be a legacy part in some form of fashion, and hopefully I can make the cut.
I don't think you have anything to worry about, Charlie.
I think you're gonna be fine. I think it's gonna work out pretty well for
July 19th is when the game comes out. I've already taken the day off work.
I'll be honest with you, this is actually the first time I've wanted to buy a system, because that used to be my favorite game. That was
mine by far.
We stayed up. That was the one we stayed up all night and played till our eyes burned. Like, it was just that was my favorite game to play. So,
and I was good at it too. I
was way better at that than I ever got in Madden.
Me too.
I got really good at that one.
I used to run with Florida State all the time, as a matter of fact. Tamrick Van over and E.G. Green were monsters on that game.
I like it. I guess we can look at the NBA draft for a second. Some people made some decisions to stay and to go.
Well, I'm up to a point where before you finish, I'm about to a point where can we just stop talking about Bronny James?
We can. It's such a weird conversation, because we're talking about a kid, and this is no disrespect to him, because I think his circumstances are unique beyond the statement of unique, in that he was about. I don't think any of us would argue that production-wise he was a below-average college player. Maybe not due to his own fault, because you can question how great his coaching and team was, but the numbers don't.
Hold up, Lloyd. Before you start talking about coaching and teammates, he missed half of the year because of his injury. I mean, his heart
ailment. Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, we gotta stop talking about coaching and teammates and those types of things. And he missed half of the year.
Yeah.
Due to a heart ailment. And then when he came back, and plus that was his first year. So you add all those factors into the matter where it's his first year, he has a heart ailment, he's going to have some down or issues or not
Right.
going to play up to the party. He came on late in the year, but I just think if he wasn't LeBron's son, I mean, where would he be? Like as far as NBA draft prospect is my
He be
question.
playing for a college team this year.
He'd be in the transfer portal.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
It's twofold because I feel like he is unfairly judged for a multitude of reasons. A, because he is LeBron's son. B, like Charlie said, he missed half the season with a heart ailment. So yeah, his numbers were going to be down this year. To me, I think that's why he should have gone back to college for another year. But if you're going to get drafted, you're going to get drafted. And he's probably going to get drafted high. He's probably going to get overdrafted, to be honest with you. But we don't know what kind of player he's going to be. We never know what kind of player they're going to be at 19 anyway. But we haven't seen him at 100% yet and fully acclimated into the game yet. So, yeah, I do think a lot of the judgment on him is a little bit unfair.
And let us also not absolve his father, who kind of ramped a lot of this up himself, saying things like, Bonnie could play right now. He's better than some of these other guys on rosters. Well, okay, slow down, Pops. I mean, I appreciate the love and the support of a black man to his son, but let's taper down just a little bit. Because when you say that, the only thing people hear is he's like me. And that's not true. He's not like you. So
But that's the case for a lot of draft prospects. I mean, there are a lot of draft prospects that are better than some guys on the NBA rosters.
100%. 100%.
I mean, that's every year though. So it's the thing is we definitely want what's best for our kids, and I am one for it.
Right.
We help our kids, open doors for them. But they have to go in and make their own opportunities by putting in the time, energy, and work to sustain themselves. And so I just hope that I know he's prepared for it, and hopefully he'll do well. But we're waiting to see. Like, how's he going to stand once he gets to a certain point? Is he going to continue to develop? Will he become a role player? What kind of role player? All these things, are very interesting.
I think his ceiling and I think this would be a solid NBA career if he could get to it. But I think his ceiling is somewhere between Drew Holiday and probably Mike Conley, somewhere in there, where he's a solid point guard. He develops those type of skills, becomes a solid point guard, solid on-ball defender, smart, makes good plays, good reads, 15 to 10 points a game, 10 to 15 points a game, something like that, and can defend well. And I think if he could get that, that's a great career.
I'm rooting for the kid. I don't think he'll be a superstar from what I've seen, but you never know. I mean, he could break out and never develop. But I'm rooting for the kid. I think he can be a solid player. I don't see superstar, and I see a good solid player, somebody you want to have on your team. Because if he has his dad's basketball IQ, then he's going to be one of the smartest players on the floor at all times.
Yeah.
And he does have some athleticism. He's just smaller than we thought. Well, I knew he wasn't 6'4" or whatever he was saying he was in the first place. But I think he can be a solid player.
I agree 100%.
So I asked this question. As a coach of Bronny in the NBA, will there be an issue with a retired dad who is coming to the games.
Oh my goodness.
With his wine.
I'm not, whatever. I'm just saying, come to the game. All right, coming to the game. And of course, he has a great basketball IQ and analyzes the game at a different level, which is the reason why he's played 30 years. When does that become too much for?
That is an excellent question
for the coach to withstand, because at some point that dad that has that type of IQ is going to want to interact on some form, or will he be the dad that is allowing the coach to coach his son and see him as a man and treat him like that without preferential treatment, in the sense of allowing things to happen, play out.
Charlie, I tell you what's going to happen. You're going to love it. He's going to be Coach James. And he's going to be the coach. That's what's going to happen. He's going to be the coach.
Or all the James. That's a great question.
He's gonna buy a franchise in Vegas. So he's going to be the owner, the GM, and Bronny's coach.
Listen, as funny as that is, that doesn't feel off the table. Doesn't feel off the table. I'll say this. I think it's impossible at this point, if you look at the pattern, for him to not be engaged in some way, form, or fashion. But I also think it is equally impossible for a franchise not to let him be engaged. Because if you are a losing franchise, which is what he will probably, unless the Lakers do something, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that they'll try to get him, because I think they're going to try to do everything they can to get him. But other than that, he's on a losing franchise.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Who's the Lakers coach?
Great question. That is a great question.
LeBron.
So let me get comfortable for this question.
Either him or JJ Redick.
It feels like it's either JJ Redick or James Borrego.
Who?
James Borrego is an assistant coach that coached with AD, I think, in New Orleans.
Okay. Right.
And so it feels like they are the two leaders in the clubhouse.
But he's not in the playoffs anymore.
Who's that?
JB.
Or he's not. I agree.
No, because he's with the Pelicans. So my thing is, if they're going with him, then they should have already named him.
Well, I think what the problem is that both candidates are wildly inexperienced, especially JJ. JJ, other than his kids' AAU team, I don't know what he's coached other than that. But he does have a basketball IQ, so I give him credit for that. But listen, if you're asking me, a Laker fan, Charlie, I don't really care who the coach is. It doesn't matter. As long as LeBron is there, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yeah, he's going to get him fired in 2 years anyway.
It doesn't matter. They hired Martin. He coached on the rebound in that movie. So as far as I'm concerned, that's as viable a coach as anybody else. Like, it doesn't matter.
I do wonder if it's harder for them to find a coach than they anticipated, because I can't see an established coach wanting to deal with that.
Well, the interesting part about this next coach is going to be, who is he the coach for? And what I mean by that is, are you hiring a coach for LeBron's final years, or are you hiring a coach for the next 6-7 years with AD? To me, it should be James Borrego, because LeBron's only got, 2 more years? He doesn't care who the coach is. It doesn't matter to him who the coach is. But you want to keep AD happy so he doesn't bolt out of there in the 2 years after LeBron decides to leave. So I don't know. And having said all that, wherever Bronny ends up, if it is LA or somebody like that, I can't imagine LeBron's not going to, at some point in his basketball career, be active with that franchise in some way, form, or fashion. And it is more likely, to Kendrick's point, that he'll just buy a franchise or start a franchise and say, with the 7th pick in the draft, oh, wait a minute, we have a trade. LeBron James is trading the 7th pick in the draft for
that would be for the next son.
LeBron James, that kind of thing.
That would be for the other son coming up.
or that, right. Well, listen, not to get ahead of ourselves too far, but Bryce actually looks like,
I think he's supposed to be the better of the two anyway.
From what I can tell, he is the better of the two. So it'll be interesting to see where he falls. But here's the interesting part, and we got to get away from this conversation a little bit. To me, that isn't even the shocker to me that happened this week. The shocker to me that happened on yesterday was Caleb Love is actually going back to Arizona
for year 7.
It's got to be year 7 or 6. It can't be less than 6, and it may be at least 7. But he's going back for his final year. And I'm saying, Caleb, my brother, with all due respect, and I mean all due respect, it's been 6 years. At some point, maybe it's just not meant to be.
Hey, he's going to get paid. He's probably getting decent money. He gets to live in Arizona.
And I think that's the play. I think that has to be the mentality, because the NBA seems to have spoken. If you're in your 6th year and you still don't feel like you're gonna be drafted, then that last year of eligibility must be the last money grab in NIL, and I'm getting on out the door.
I see him. He's a former ACC guy, so I guess that's why we can talk about him. But I see him as a Buddy Hield. He's not a point guard. He's a shooting guard to me. I mean, that's what he's shown.
Mm-hmm. But he's a great shooting.
I don't know how tall he is, but I mean, there are a lot of guys like him in the NBA that have done. They've made a career out of it by being that type of person. I think him going back a year may help him, just get away from probably, or at least he showed what he's capable of doing to some scouts. Yeah. And they may have given him some information that may be beneficial for him to move in a different direction so that he could better his draft stock for next year, while also giving himself a chance to get back to the Final Four, because I'm sure Arizona will have a team that will be able to compete for that. So
listed at 6'4".
I believe he's 6'4". I believe he's actually 6'4". Yeah. At this point, no matter if he goes this year or next year, he's probably going to be a 2nd-round pick at best, regardless, because they're going to hold his age against him. I mean, look at Antonio Reeves at Kentucky. I mean, he had a phenomenal year last year. Arguably one of the best shooters in college basketball last year, and they're projecting him either 2nd round or not even picked. And so, with the way basketball is today, the way the NBA is today, who doesn't need another shooter? And so, he has a better J than Caleb does. I think Caleb gives you a little bit more all around game, but I just think that his age is going to be held against him anyway. So he's either going to be a 2nd-round pick or may not get picked. And so he may as well just get some extra money in college and enjoy being a college student. Probably doesn't even have to go to class anymore at this point. And so it's living in Arizona.
Yeah. I think when you get to where those guys are in their careers, I think you got to become great at something. And which brings me to the other one that got me really excited, the DJ Burns. Have you guys seen DJ Burns?
Yes.
He looks phenomenal.
He looks incredible.
He looks phenomenal. He is taking. I gotta believe that Zach Randolph is in his ear at some, because he looks almost identical to what the pass that he's taking looks almost identical to what Zach Randolph did. Like Zach was a huge boy, and then he lost all the weight, shed down, and he looks fluid. And so does DJ Burns. And I think he may end up being the steal of the draft. Whatever round you take him in, I think he's going to end up being the steal of the draft, because that kid, I was watching a bunch of different videos from him, and he looks outstanding. And he looks quicker now, more fluid. The touch around the basket, he hasn't lost any of that. I really think he's going to be a steal. I think he could be a steal.
Where is he projected right now? Have you seen?
I have not seen, but if you guys keep talking, I'll find out for you. Just give me an idea of where people are talking.
Zach Randolph's daughter is at U of L. She's going to be a freshman at U of L this year.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. Her and Gilbert Arenas' daughter.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Is she
Zach's daughter was a McDonald's All-American.
Is she a tall girl and strong like her dad?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, she's good. I saw her. I watched her in the McDonald's All-American game. Yeah. She's pretty good.
Okay. This is perfect. This is let's see. I'm looking for DJ Rob. Interesting. Rob Dillingham is projected 7. Now Reed Shepard is projected 8 to the Spurs, which would actually be really good. I'm looking for any of our guys. Okay, Jared McCain from Duke is projected 16 to the 76ers. Keyshawn George, 17 to the Pelicans. That's the Lakers' old pick. Cal Filipowski to the Pelicans. That's an interesting pick. That is an interesting pick.
I'm not sold on him.
I'm not either, but I'm wondering what that pick is supposed to represent. Like, are they getting Zion fatigue, and they're just saying we got to figure out something?
No,
I don't know, man.
I think Filipowski, what he adds, I think he's going to develop more of a perimeter game. They'll use him to complement Zion.
Yeah.
Harrison Ingram, Orlando, the second round. People seem sold that Bronny's going to the Lakers at 56, which feels like collusion. But we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. But so DJ Burns in this mock is not projected to be in at all, which I just that fascinates me, because I'm telling you, I think that kid's got something.
Well, that'd probably be good for him. I mean, you'll be able to choose a team.
Oh yeah.
To go ahead and try to make it.
Yeah.
I mean, you like to get drafted. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you'd rather be drafted than undrafted. But you're sitting watching these playoffs. There are guys who are making, a name for themselves, like Nas Reed, undrafted. There are a few others that are undrafted is making, contributions on winning teams. So I just think sometimes, it's okay, if you're in that space and you feel like you have a good chance to go to a place where they may need you, as opposed to someone just drafting you, and you're just there.
I can see Charlotte taking a flyer on them. Why not? They're not going to do anything anyway. Why not take a flyer on them? That organization is weird to me. why they just can't get out. They just stuck in the mud. They just can't get out of their own way. But it does seem like he would be a good fit for them. And it's the local kid. I can see them taking a flyer on him in the second round or signing him to their summer league team.
He's definitely a kid that I have. I think his upside is tremendous.
But I think some of these teams, if they could just stay healthy, they would probably be a little bit better. I'm not saying they would be, playoff worthy, but they would probably be a little bit better if they could keep some of their players healthy throughout, some of their better players, I should say, healthy throughout the year. You think about Charlotte losing Ball for a good portion of the season to the ankle. I think he had an ankle issue. That's a key loss.
Yeah,
because they have Miller, who I think is a rising star, and they have some other pieces. I'm not sure, with Bridges. I think that may be some other issues that unintended.
I think they may be coming to the end of the road.
I think he was a serious monkey wrench into their plan this season. I think.
Yeah. They didn't count on any of that, which in you, right? No, I agree with you.
They may treat him like Jonah. They throw him off the ship.
I was like, Jonah. I'm like, I only know one Jonah in the Bible. You talking about the Bible?
Throw him off the ship. Lord may be dealing with him.
Yeah, they're about to getting out of the Miles Bridges business. You know what's interesting? At one point, I thought Miles Bridges was headed in the Anthony Edwards direction, because it seemed like he was really starting to figure the NBA out, and then all of a sudden it just, I don't know.
That year before the incident, he had a great season that year before.
Yeah, it seemed like he was trending in the right direction, and now it's like, I don't know, he may be toxic now.
He went to what's my man name? Beasley? Michael Beasley?
Michael Beasley's not from this planet.
He's got some issues.
He's so good. I mean, he talking about somebody's just a certified bucket, though.
Oh, my God.
Beasley can go out there and get you buckets.
If he could have controlled his off-court stuff, he would have been one of the greats. Because talent-wise, it was undeniable. But he could. It just, as the old saying says, sometimes you get the bear, sometimes the bear gets you. Bear got him pretty badly.
Is he still playing somewhere overseas or something?
I've heard different things. I've heard that he's gone over there a little bit, that he's still trying to get back in and maybe have 1 or 2 more years in the league. I don't know where he's at financially. I think that's what maybe guiding his playing situation, and maybe why he's trying to get back in the league. Because how many years you got to play to get to your pension, Charlie?
It's like 4, but
it's
a better pension when you get 10. It's a better pension when you get to 10.
He's been in. I think he's been in at least 10 because he was in that McDonald's All-American game that was in Louisville. Patrick Patterson and Blake Griffin and all of them.
I don't know if consistent 10, Kendrick. Like, well, okay. How do you I guess we'd have to find out how they qualify 10. Like, if you played in a season, Charlie, any season, regardless of time out and time in, as long as it adds up to 10, is that how it works?
Yeah, as long as you're on a roster.
It doesn't matter how long you're on that roster, right?
I think you have to be there for a year or so, or
that's the X factor right there. That's the X factor right there, Kendrick. I don't know how many.
Okay, I've got his career stats up now.
Okay,
so he was drafted by he played for the Heat in 08. Was he originally drafted by the Heat? That doesn't seem right.
No, I want to say he was drafted in Minnesota? Was that?
Yes, he played in Minnesota 2 years.
Okay.
So according to this, what I'm looking at, he was drafted by the Heat in 08-09 season. He played pretty consistently. Minnesota, his second year in Minnesota, he only played 47 games, which that could have been injury. Averaged 23 a game that year. Then he was at the Suns for a year. He was at the Heat for two more years. And then he started having the inconsistencies. The second year in 15 with the Heat, he played 24 games. He played 20 games for the Rockets. And he played 26 games most recently for the Lakers in 19.
And we want to give them some grace and that alone, but I don't know, man. I don't know what
Yeah, your audio is crapping out. Yes. Yeah, it got real staticky there for a minute. Let's see. Do you think this helps or hurts Florida State's case to leave? Oh, we already done.
We will transition a little bit and go into some NBA playoff.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Let's see if that's better. Is that better?
There you go. Yeah, there you
Okay.
go.
All right. We'll transition a little bit and get into some NBA playoffs, which has been very interesting, to say the least. I will say this about the series that we're watching now, in regards to Dallas and Minnesota. I've never watched the series and thought more, man, that team better be glad those guys got that. They better be glad they got those two guys. Because if they didn't have those two guys, I can't say I disagree with Minnesota when they say we still feel like we can beat them. Because I think they can, but they don't have closers. They don't have Luka and Kyrie, which is kind of a big deal.
Right. I love the confidence and the swagger that Anthony Edwards plays with. I wish Karl Anthony Towns could be more consistent and quit committing such stupid fouls. I mean, the fouls he commits are insane.
Yeah.
I think they need another consistent scorer on that team. But they're fun to watch. Dallas is they're fun to watch too. I mean, when Luka's on and when Kyrie's on, and the way they play off of each other is fun to watch too, because you can tell that they really have a good rapport with each other. They have a good relationship with each other, and you can tell it on the floor.
And I would say this: I adore what has happened to Kyrie. I think it's fantastic that he's found a place that he can feel comfortable being whoever he wants to be, and then just focus on basketball on the court. I think that's very cool.
I think a lot of that has to do with Jason Kidd. I think Jason Kidd deserves way more credit than he gets. He's been a fantastic coach in Dallas, and he's been great for Luka, and he's been great for Kyrie, it feels like.
I think Kyrie likes relationships, and I think having a real relationship with his coach is a big deal for him. And it feels like because I've seen a lot of highlights where Jason's got his arm around him and he's hugging him and he's holding his kid and all that stuff. And that feels more than just like a coach player type thing. It feels like, hey, this is my guy. I got his back no matter what kind of thing. And when Kyrie feels like he trusts his coach, you're getting a different Kyrie at that point.
And plus, Kyrie grew up watching Jason Kidd. They talked
Yeah.
about it on the broadcast the
And
other
then
night.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a big part of it.
Charlie, are you impressed with him?
Yes. He's matured a lot, I do believe, from his days of when he was younger. And you're starting to see his game mature a little bit as well, to where he's not only just searching for his own, but he's picking his spots, and allowing others to play. And he had like 2 points or something in the first half of the last game, and went off in the second half, which he's been doing, picking his spots. But when he's been good in both halves, they've had been very successful. That's when they both ended up with 30 something points together. But this series could go either way. I mean, there hadn't been a game where you feel like they the Mavs have just outright won the game, and Minnesota hadn't been in any of the games. And while they lost the first three, Anthony Edwards wasn't as aggressive as he was in the last game. He wasn't passing up shots that he ended up shooting the last game. He was still passing, but he wasn't making it easy on them. He was probing, using his ability to get to the rim. And then Cat hit shots. He's been shooting them.
He's definitely been shooting them.
He's been horrible shooting the 3-point shot, which is what he likes to do, his best shot. And then he started taking the ball a little bit to the basket more.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough, but he's still taking it to the basket. Took it to the basket a little bit more. This is a team, when we start talking about them, Mike Conley is inspirational, in their success. He's played well. Nas Reed, again, he's another guy that they can get open shots, which they're getting open shots. The thing that's the difference is they're kind of made up differently than the Mavs. The Mavs run everything through Luka and Kyrie. They have a second guy, but whenever Minnesota needs a bucket, they got Anthony Edwards there, but they also give the ball to Mike Conley to make plays, and other guys to make plays. But when they need a bucket, it's no different than New York, the Knicks. They gave the ball to Jalen Brunson. That's who they had. And I think, if Julius Randle was there, they would feel comfortable giving him the ball to be able to give Brunson a break. And I think that's where Minnesota is. They give the ball to Mike Conley to be able to run the offense and do those types of things to give Anthony Edwards a break. So I just think both teams need their best players to play well, because the role players have been playing well. That's kind of what kept them in these games when they weren't playing. The stars weren't playing well. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Minnesota will win the next game to send it to a game 6, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, it's going to be, down to what we've been getting, which is who's going to make plays in the end, shots in the end.
Well, if ever there was a scenario, we listen, for years, the 16 seed beat the one. The 1 seed beat the 16 seed, and even though there were some close calls, it just never happened. And then all of a sudden, we saw the 16 seed beat the 1 seed twice. So, at some point, this 145-0 thing of no one's ever come back from a 3-0 deficit is that's not gonna be a reality. Somebody's gonna crack the code. And if ever there was a time where the code might get cracked, this might be it. Like these teams aren't far apart. Nobody's blowing anybody out. So who knows?
That's what was crazy about that Celtics series. I mean, they swept them, but Indiana easily could have won all 4 of those games too.
Right.
These series have been so close.
Yeah. I agree with you, Charlie. I got a sneaky suspicion that Minnesota's going to probably win tonight. But it'll be interesting. It's game 6 and 7. If we get to that, will be very interesting because if you're the Mavs and you're on the precipice of blowing a 3-0 lead and becoming truly historical, that's an interesting thought. That is a very, very
Boston almost pulled it off last year against Miami.
Yeah. So, speaking of Boston, you guys agree or disagree? Boston has had, I want to say they haven't been lucky. They've just been very blessed to have things all in their direction. You guys agree or disagree with that?
They took advantage of it, though. I mean, they took care of business, even though the games were a lot closer than we thought they would be once Halliburton went out. But I mean, they've taken care of business. I mean, yeah, they've had the fortunate run of the other team's best players getting hurt in literally every series. But I mean, that's part of it. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, they took advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, when you raise the banner, win the trophy, and get your ring, ain't nobody talking about who you need to get there. So they've done what they need to do. I mean, they're 12-2 for a reason. Even though we talk about the games being close. I mean, this is the playoffs, and playoffs. The goal is to win the games. Play your best, and they play well in spurts for the most part. I mean, they've been down, and they were down our last game, and came back and won it, late. But that is what you want to see from a veteran group. You want them to be able to dig their way out. You got to get stops. You got to make shots and plays, and that's what you did. The difference in Miami and Boston was those last 2 games with Halliburton being out. They didn't have anyone to give the ball to that they felt comfortable giving them a good bucket.
Exactly.
Nembhard was trying to be that guy, but I mean, you just saw he wasn't comfortable in that role. Like he was just out of control a few times down the stretch. I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And, I mean, he
was everybody on the floor.
And ended up, either throwing the ball away or turn over. Like the last play was a steal, or just shooting a crazy shot, or not getting a great shot at all. And Siakam, didn't make the mid-range shot that he was making against the Knicks consistently down the stretch. So they just didn't have, and even with Halliburton in Game 7, I thought he took the next step against the Knicks. And then you started to see him do that in Boston. But when he went out, that was going to be the question. And I'm sure that's what Boston was wanting to get to, was just get him in a close game to where, we feel like our defense is great and they don't have a guy that can get his own shot or get a shot for someone else. Even McConnell, I mean, I
felt like he should have played more.
Well, he played. I thought he played enough, especially when Halliburton went there.
Yeah.
But he's not accustomed to playing that many minutes and playing that hard the way he plays. He gassed out at some point, and then he gets hit in the face. I mean, he's a.
That's the way he plays, though.
Not cracked, but
the last game was rough.
They just had guys out of their roles, and I've been in that situation before where that is just not your role, and you're trying to play somebody else's role, in the midst of a series, it is not easy.
Yeah.
I think they've got a bright future though with Halliburton and Turner. They've got a nice core right there. I'm pretty sure Siakam will probably stay, and so I think they've got a good core to build around, and so I think they have a pretty bright future there.
I think they're early. They're about a year or two earlier than where they would probably be. They may need another player that can kind of pick up some of the slack of what's going on with Halliburton and Turner and Siakam. Just one other guy that's a great, solid position player, role player, whatever. But yeah, they got a great future. I think they're really
and Nembhard's coming on. I mean, I was surprised by him the way he played in the playoffs. I mean, yeah, he wasn't used to that role, but like when he got the opportunity, I mean, he took advantage of it.
What would be great for them is a veteran guard that can fill in some of the mental and just the educational gaps for those guys. Like even Halliburton, there's stuff that he just doesn't. When they lost that first game, that was all to me experience. Like you don't go 100 miles per hour when you got to lead. You got to slow it down, get the shots going, that kind of stuff. You got to know when to call a timeout. Got to know how to do an inbound. Truly doing inbounds play when you got the lead. It's just little stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of little stuff, and their inexperience showed up in the key moments of those. All four of those games.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
But that is experience that it just gained. So
absolutely,
they really don't have to bring somebody else in for experience. I mean, they gain experience, and that's how Boston has gotten to where they are. I mean, even last year they lost in Game 7, but they were down, in the series, and they were able to fight back. But that is, like we say, there's steps in life that we have to take and go through to be able to gain experience. And I think Indiana, has to continue to improve. Don't get me wrong, but these experiences they're learning a lot from, and it'll be beneficial, moving forward. But
one of the best things for Indiana too is that they play in the East, and the East doesn't feel like the East has gotten way better, but the path is still easier.
Yes.
Yeah, so you don't have that grind that you would have in the West. But this ain't even the most shocking NBA story, gentlemen. The playoffs aren't it. That's not the big story. The big story is now that NBC looks like it's going to have the rights to the NBA. It's the B package of the NBA, which has been owned forever by Warner Brothers. What is going to happen with the inside the NBA crew? Is this over? Is next year the last year?
That's what everybody's saying. Next year is going to be the last year. Apparently, Barkley said he would hire Kenny, Shaq, and Ernie, and they can do their own show independently, which would be it'd be successful.
Sure.
I don't understand why they weren't included in whatever package there was, because Adam Silver is adamant that he loves Inside the NBA. He gets on ESPN all the time because their shows don't compare to Inside the NBA. So I don't understand why they wouldn't make that, or why NBC wouldn't incorporate Inside the NBA into their deal. I don't understand that.
I think until the deal is official, NBC can't officially have that conversation with them, like not like man to man. Like they can talk back channel, I'm sure. But if I'm NBC, I got to do whatever I got to do to bring that show to NBC. I have to, because here's the reality. And Charlie,
for ESPN or Amazon.
I don't know if ESPN can do it because ESPN is going to demand more from that show than maybe Chuck and Shaq and I'm willing to probably give. Like Chuck always and Shaq always joke about, I'm not doing ESPN Deportes. Just so what I think what they got to, one of those guys have to make an offer And I think it all hinges on Ernie, if I'm being honest, because he's the X factor. If you got to make him an offer that he cannot refuse, and if I'm being honest, I think you got to guilt him a little bit and say, "I'll hire." First of all, I'll keep the show in Atlanta. That's number one. Number two, I'll bring on as many of your people from inside the NBA as I can. So I was retaining some of your key pieces that that you can't live without. Maybe as many of your team members that are not Shaq and Kobe and Shaq and Charles and all those guys. Obviously, we're bringing those guys over. And then what does the rest of it look like? Because he does golf, he does baseball. So what does the rest of it look like if you're NBC? Do you throw him some college games? Would he be interested in that? Do you throw him throw him in with Maria Taylor for the NFL games on Sunday? Would he be interested in that? Like, you got to make it work for him, and then throw him a number that he flat out can't refuse.
I don't know if they want to. I don't know if that show works on NBC though, because NBC's going to want more control.
Well, but see, that's what I'm saying. I think they're grossly overestimating not having the show. Because first of all, if you're going to build an inside the NBA like show on NBC, where in the world do you start?
Right. I mean,
but the other thing is, TNT. At the end of each game, they stayed up to like 1 o'clock in the morning. They're doing their analysis. And will NBC have a similar model concept after games? Because when NBC had, or when they were a part of the NBA, most of their games were on the weekend. They hosted the weekend games. Most Sunday. I remember playing on Sunday. Bill Walton was, one of the commentators. Rest in peace to my man Bill. But they they will have that piece, and with ESPN, they have their basketball analysis. But after most late games, they have Scotty Van Pelt.
Yeah, they go to Sports Center. Yeah,
doing their deal. So it's a different setup and model. It'd be interesting to see how they navigate their way through that piece, because TNT was, like I said, they had coverage. We into the night. After games. And to see how they make it work with the after game coverage during the week. Will it be on Peacock? Will Peacock become like the new TNT model? So it'd be interesting to see.
I guarantee a lot of those games are going to end up on Peacock, and I've heard that what they're going to do is they have Sunday night football, they're going to have Sunday night NBA. They have a similar setup as they have with Sunday night football. What it looks like, I don't know, but I heard that's what's coming, and so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it does give the NBA a bigger platform, I would say. Having if they're going to do a Sunday night every Sunday night during the season, that'd be pretty cool. I know they kind of were doing that with ABC with the Saturday night games, but I think Sunday night would stand out more. I do wonder how they do the post game show, because like Charlie said, that inside the NBA, it's on the 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. But
you want to see it though. But
you can, because you can do that on TNT because they're following it up, but with Charmed or whatever. NBC, you got local news affiliates. You have a little bit. You don't have as much leeway as far as programming goes.
Well, and then again, ESPN has been chasing inside the NBA for years, and never put together a crew that has come close to being as entertaining as inside the NBA. So I just don't know where you start. And then the other thing is, those games better be, if you got the B package, that means you still don't have the quote unquote best games week in and week out.
They will on Sunday though. If they do a
Well, I
Sunday
don't
night,
know.
they do a
I don't
Sunday.
know, though.
If they're doing Sunday night like they're doing Sunday night football, they're gonna have the best Sunday game.
Well, listen, they better, because the only reason I watch Portland and Utah on a Thursday night at 10 o'clock at night is because I know inside the NBA is going to be funny at the end of it all.
That's
So,
like I skipped the game.
there were many times that I will not watch the game at all and just go turn over and watch the end of the broadcast, especially when it's in November and December. So I just think NBC's got a lot to figure out with this. And the regular season on during the week has been you could argue that it's been anchored by Inside the NBA.
Oh, totally. I mean, they get two nights a week with 4 games. They get 4 games.
Right. So if you haven't figured out that part, you might be wasting your money buying this package, because
they're gonna figure it. I guarantee you, Peacock is gonna be a major part of it. I mean, they just released yesterday that
another subscription thing.
They're gonna do. The NFL's doing it.
I don't think that's apples to oranges. I don't think that's apples to apples. I think that's apples to.
But that's what they're gonna. That's what they're gonna do. That's the future of all of this stuff. Is to the streaming platforms.
I don't agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying. I'm curious to know how much people will follow a new model. Or I guess if you love it, you'll follow. I guess I don't know, but
yeah, I mean they put the Notre Dame, the U of L Notre Dame game is going to be on exclusively on Peacock. They announced that yesterday.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
wow. Well, Warner Brothers could save themselves. They could save themselves very easily.
Oh, they could easily match whatever offer. I don't think they want to.
Well, at this point, it's not even the matching of the offer from what I'm hearing. It's about the scope of the nationality that, or the scope of the audience that NBC brings. Like you said, it's a national audience. You got affiliates, so it's a bigger audience just on that alone. So to me, the easy play is Warner Brothers got to partner with a streaming service like Netflix or something.
They already have Max.
Yeah, but I'm saying literally put some games on Netflix.
I mean, that's coming. I mean, I guarantee you that's coming.
Like, can you imagine Inside the NBA on Netflix?
They say it's all Max now. They already are Max, and so
yeah, but they're still limited because it's on TNT, so they don't push the boundaries. If you get on a Netflix where all bets are off and you can really say what you want.
Well, technically you can on TNT, but they just don't.
I don't know. Listen, I think the time might be close to up on them on because they said they would give Warner Brothers time to respond, and I think we're like a day or two away from it being over the time period.
I don't think Warner, because that's been part of the problem with all of this, is like getting really inside baseball with as far as TV goes. But when they took over HBO, HGTV, all those, when they get that whole conglomerate, if you notice, HBO shows have gone downhill. The long-standing shows they're not doing them anymore. They're not doing the big shows like. I mean, they got House of Dragons, but that's pretty much it as far as their big shows, big budget shows, because they're all about cutting costs. So it's why you see in all these reality shows and all this. That's why reality shows have taken over TV, because they're easy to make and they're cheap. And so that's kind of what is happening with the NBA on TNT. It's a cost effective thing for them. That's how they look at it. Now, does it make sense? No. But that's how they're looking at it. That's what's happening with TV all across the board.
It's going to be interesting and fascinating. We may be coming to the end of maybe you could argue the most iconic sports show that's ever been on TV.
Yep.
Maybe coming to an end this time next year. So we will see. But I still think NBC will make a play for the show. I think they're at least going to try, just to say that they did. We'll see where that goes from here. We got some shout outs of the show to give out, gentlemen. Shout out to the Wolfpack of North Carolina, who in this calendar year of 23-24 got their third cross country national championship.
Congratulations, ladies.
That's pretty impressive. Shout out to. Well, I should let you do this shout out, Charlie, to your Seminoles.
Yes, that's the women's team.
Second in 3 years.
3 years, and is it the 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5 or something like that?
Yeah, they've pretty dominant.
I know it's 2nd and 3. They're pretty
Soccer
dominant. Yeah.
They're soccer.
And of course, North Carolina women field hockey claimed the title, which, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, their coach was the former player like last year or year before last or something like that.
Wow.
Is this the team? I think it's them.
That's impressive.
That is very impressive. They just keep the train
Impressive
moving.
for the ACC.
Oh, ACC has done well, sir. Men's tennis, back-to-back champs, Virginia, getting it done.
Congratulations, fellas.
Yep. And then, of course, Virginia women won the swim and dive national championship.
Awesome.
They
Congratulations,
look very
ladies.
happy in this picture. And then finally, I think just this last week, Notre Dame's lacrosse team won the national championship.
Didn't Boston College win the women's?
Yeah, I can't remember. I didn't. They may have. I may have missed that. My apologies to the Boston College women if that is true.
Looking it up right now.
And of course, we had some success in the NCAA tournaments in football and basketball as well. No national championships, but still some great success. So we give a shout out to the
Also, shout out to FSU's.
Yes, Boston College won the women's lacrosse national championship. Sorry.
we owe them a banner. So there you go.
The men golf team lost to Auburn in the national championship on yesterday.
Oh wow!
3-2 came down. I mean, they're 2 down, but they weren't able to overcome, weren't able to get over the hump. But it was a great run. I think they were ranked 6. Auburn, I think, had been number 1 all year, so it was a good challenge, but we weren't able to overcome in the end. But I was proud of the guys.
I'd be curious how many cold weather schools have won a golf championship. I'm very curious. Let me have to look that up just out of curiosity.
Stanford women won the championship this year
In golf?
in golf. They were number 1 all year as well.
I would think they got a string of golf championships lined up over there on both the men and the women's side because that weather is beautiful out there all year long. So
That's the crazy thing about Louisville. Their golf teams, they got a beautiful course, but they don't play any home games. All on the road.
oh my goodness. So that's interesting. But okay, so those are ACC shout outs for the year. It's been a great year for ACC sports, and we're looking forward to another great year coming up here soon. I apologize. When we come back, we'll have better audio as well. You know what's going on with our audio today. But anyway, do you guys have any shout outs that you'd like to give?
Charlie, you can go first.
Well, our daughter Hope just had a birthday.
Happy birthday, Hope.
Happy birthday, Hope.
Shout out to her and her sister Lita, our older sister. And there were quite a few others that had birthdays on Monday. But shout out to them.
Okay. Charlie, you got big summer plans?
just team stuff and speaking engagements, meetings for our ranch project, Champions Ranch project.
Okay. Well, that sounds like fun, Charlie.
Family vacation.
Okay. Well, if you're out there and you see Charlie out somewhere, just say hi to him and tell him that you're a fan of the show. Just
Yes. First time, long time.
There you go. Kids, you got any big plans this summer?
I just had my big summer vacation. Just got back from the Keys, and so I'm back. I go back to work today, so the beard goes today. And so, other than that, maybe a trip to Colorado, maybe, I don't know. And then we've got a busy summer because we're in baseball right now. As soon as baseball is over with, we kind of have a lull. In July comes, we have the Olympics. We have the TBT is back, and so.
Yeah.
Louisville has a team. Kentucky has a team. Bellarmine has a team. We also have an interesting intern this summer. I hadn't told you this. Our intern, who's starting on June the 10th, is Jada Curry, U of L women's basketball player. So she'll be interning with us this summer. So we'll have her around, and I'll bring her on the show whenever we come back. And so that's about it. We got the Olympics, and then once the Olympics are over, right on into football. So
There you go.
the Olympics end on my birthday, which is the closing ceremonies are literally on my birthday.
Wow, that's cool. Well, I'm sure we'll be back by then for sure. Well, listen, we got I got a couple of little things planned, a couple of trips planned. Actually, one of the trips is coming through Louisville, so I probably will see you.
Good.
Yes. And see and hang out a little bit. And I don't know, we got some other plans going too from a business perspective, but we'll get to those a lot later. We may pop up a couple of times this summer, maybe, especially if it's something that breaks that we need to discuss. But it's going to be very fluid. It's fluid. As Stephen A. Smith said, it's fluid. So don't expect to see us every week. We probably won't do that. But we will pop up when necessary. So there you go. But my shout out is just to the fam. And I will have a 24-year-old this time next week. So shout out to the oldest baby. She is growing by leaps and bounds. So proud of her.
She grown.
Yeah, she's grown. Grown. So shout out to her. And shout out to the fathers. We won't be here for Father's Day that week. So shout out to the fathers. I'm trying to think of anything else in June because most of June will be gone. So
right. I got to shout out my boy Terry Anthony. This is his restaurant, the Block Bistro. If you're ever in Indianapolis, down by the Circle, stop by.
There you go. Stop by. I think that's it. I don't think we have anything else. We'll return. Maybe the Lakers will have a coach. Maybe not. We'll see. I don't know.
Something else that's fluid.
It's fluid. That's a fluid situation. Box them in. Before I go, any Caitlin thoughts? Anybody got Caitlin thoughts?
Hey, yeah, a shout out to my backcourt mate, Sam Cassell. He's of course with the Boston Celtics. And
doing well.
Hopefully they can pull it together and get them a ring, a national world championship. I shouldn't say world, but an NBA championship.
Yeah.
Here with the Boston Celtics, and so I'm pulling for my man Sam.
Sam should be a head coach. He's going to be a head coach soon.
Her interesting rumor that JJ was trying to put a staff together. Sam's name came up.
No, he's not going there.
It's a rumor. That's all I'm saying.
I would love to see the dynamic between LeBron and Sam. Sam doesn't strike me as someone who deals with a whole lot of nonsense.
Yeah,
I was thinking about what you said when you said it. I was like, that would be it.
He doesn't bite his tongue.
No, he does not.
Now I'm kind of rooting for it. Now I want to see it happen.
to be a bug on the wall.
Wow, that would be an interesting dynamic.
You can get Sam on here one time, Charlie.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Yeah. Big Sam Cassell fan. Always have been.
All right.
I'm sure he'll do it.
All right. Well, gentlemen, it's been great. A great year. Like I said, we're going to take our little much-deserved vacation and enjoy some time. You guys will see us when we see us. We're sure we'll be back like on our regular schedule by August. Some point in August, we'll be back on our regular schedule. But yeah. We're fluid. Some you guys, if you getting a break, let us get a break. All right. So when we return, we will return. Until then, we appreciate each and every one of you. Keep following us, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep paying attention to the announcements that we'll have over the summer. And we'll see you when we get back. All right. Until then, keep believing in the ACC.
Hooray.
You've been listening to Believe in the ACC with Charlie Ward, Lloyd Spence, and Kendrick Haskins. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share from the Noisemakers page on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and wherever podcasts can be heard. And join us